Soup. Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, and I have a special guest, Mary, here. We got some more RPG horror stories for today. Mary and I are working on a bit of a collab. Mary, can you tell them about it?
We made our own new class that we're going to be talking about. I mean, technically we did. We made a whole video, and it turned out Morrow didn't record any of it, so
Yeah.
we're gonna redo it.
We were like there for like an hour and a half. We thought we were recording the whole time, and then right as we were about to finish up, I look over at OBS and realize I never hit record. So I am a big old dumb idiot. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna be doing a proper video talking about our homebrew class we made together. That's gonna be its own video on its own. But for now, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. Player had crush on DM. So I've always been a lurker here, but one of these stories made me think about my terrible and only time playing D&D. 3 people in my friend group were really into it and convinced the rest of us to try it out. A few interesting details on my friend group at the time. GM, the game master who was new to the group and really excited for us to play D&D, but for later non-D&D reasons will end up being a nightmare. L, veteran of D&D and a friend of 2 years who prior to the D&D I'd felt like was constantly bullying me. My suspicion was confirmed a month before D&D when I found out what they were saying behind my back. L had developed a crush on GM, but never really talked about outside the friend group before this. R, my friend and D&D veteran who L had been received the things L had sent behind my back and knew I wasn't really feeling comfortable about them. T, another newcomer to D&D and my best friend. Made our characters together and made them friends. 2 other people were there, and while they're relevant to non-D&D drama, they aren't really important in the story. Now, Mary, you've probably seen my videos. You probably know how I feel about initials when it comes to names and stuff. I think initials are kind of lame, personally. I personally prefer to give some sort of a name. So, what I want you to do is help me out a little bit. I want you to give names to L, R, and T, like proper names that we can actually say for context.
Which one first?
Any of them. I suppose we could just go down the list. L first, then R second, and then T last, I suppose. GM could just say GM. GM is normal. GM's fine.
I don't know. Like, I don't know who's a male or female.
We don't know.
No.
We have no idea. But that's the best part.
Oh,
You can just give just give any name.
Larry.
Larry, perfect. L is Larry. Whether it's guy Larry, girl Larry, whoever Larry. Just Larry's a perfect name. Next.
Ronald.
Or Ronald, usually. Just think of that stupid meme. Right, Ronald is next. Not Ron or Ronald. What about T? What feels like a T kind of thing?
Tiny.
Tiny. I like that. Okay, cool. So we got Larry, Ronald, and Tiny. Genders and stuff doesn't matter. We're just gonna go with those names. So I'm like a newcomer, so obviously I have no idea how this is going to go, but I read so many stories about that guy in D&D games and I know what not to do. The GM found me funny for my over-the-top reactions and favored my character after I told him the concept. Narcissistic asexual bard in a simple terms. For the first session, things were awful. I'd never played before, I didn't really understand how to cooperate with others while staying true to my character, and while I'm a non-confrontational person IRL, D&D just hit a side of pettiness in me I couldn't ignore. It started with me and Tiny's character met up with Larry and Ronald. There was just immediate hostility from Larry, who locked us both up and stole all our stuff. Of course, Ronald played the dumb character who went along with everything Larry did. Try not to take it personally because, you know, D&D. And eventually GM did this multiple signals that we should all work together. Tell me why Larry distributes me and Tiny stuff to all the other characters and breaks the rest even after we ask for it back. Can you tell they hated me? This just infuriated me and I became more combative in the game. Okay, hold on a second. First of all, if somebody just straight up, like when you first meet up in character, you immediately lock up the other party members that you're supposed to be playing with and take their stuff and then unevenly give it back, that already feels like there's a lot of hostility going on here. Something that I feel like should have been clapped down from session 0. Did you guys even have a session 0? I'm assuming because you guys are new and DM is new and everything, you probably didn't have a session 0. Session 0 is one of those things that I think is very important. For those that don't know, a session 0 is a get-together that you should probably have with your GM, other players, or maybe just have like a one-on-one get-together with your GM to talk about expectations at the table, the do's, the don'ts, what GM would like to try to play out as a story, what the players expect from this story, what sort of characters you guys are making together. This is going to be like a heroic campaign, an evil campaign, just you know, round the corner, whatever, trying to get task completed campaign. What are the expectations for you guys playing together? So when you get together, you're gonna have these kind of moments where there's an immediate hostility from no reason. I understand fully why you went petty. Like, on one hand, yeah, probably not good idea to go petty against party members, but if a party member decided to lock me out and just take my stuff just because it's a first encounter and they immediately go into hostility territory, yeah, I'd feel kind of petty as well. This sounds like a very a-hole behavior. In fact, I want to say maybe Larry might actually be kind of an a-hole. I don't know why Ronald isn't really speaking up on it. Maybe they are just playing up to it. I don't know if Larry and Ronald are like buddies and like they kind of do like a tag team duo to kind of screw everybody over, but their characters get rich or something. I don't know. This feels very combative, however. Immediately off of the cuff. What do you think, Mary?
Definitely tell something's up with how they're reacting. I don't know. You can never really tell if it's like maybe it could be one of those things where it's like it's what my character would do. But
yeah, but if your character would do that, then maybe you should make a jerk character that immediately goes into hostility territory and takes everything from party members, right?
I guess I have to read more to see if it got worse.
I guess so, yeah.
See what kind of person they are.
Let's just keep going. But so far, I'm kind of putting Larry on my crap list. I really don't like Larry. So later we're still fighting with Larry, who's still being an a-hole. I turn over to see Tiny crying, but hiding it, and no one else had noticed. After that, I just decided to help only Tiny get their stuff back, which of course worked, and I ended up the only one lacking. Tiny began to join the others after this. I was so upset after that, I ended up crying after the session ended, because I didn't feel like I was having fun. Okay, I was about to say, like, were you crying in session? Like, is this your character crying, or was this the player at the table crying? Because, dude, if something is making you that upset to the point of bringing other players to tears, I don't think it's worth even playing it at that point. Like,
yeah,
no D&D is better than bad D&D, and especially if somebody being an a-hole at the table and the DM not stopping it is going to actually bring players to tears, including OP themselves. I don't think it's worth it. I've never played a game, personally. I can't say I've been to too many tables, but I never played a game where I actually physically cried at the, like, me physically crying. Characters being sad is one thing. You know, it's one thing to have like in character getting emotional and stuff, that's completely fine, but to feel so upset from how the game is going at the table in real time, that's really unfortunate. I'm sorry that happened to you guys. That sucks.
I wonder if like they say Tiny was crying or something.
Yeah.
Does it mean like the character was crying or they were crying at the table? Because if they were crying at the table, I feel like they should have noticed.
Maybe. I'm going to assume that because OP mentioned the fact that they were cried after the game, like after the game ended, then maybe Tiny was also crying at the table as well. But yeah, no, you're right, actually. Like, I feel like everybody else at the table should have noticed that Tiny, everybody were upset over this whole thing, and GM probably should have noticed it and just stopped the whole game right then and there and establish some, you know, decent boundaries and stuff. Like, I don't know, common rules. Don't steal from party members. Don't be an asshole to party members. Don't be a jerk to party members. Don't go PvPing against party members. Don't do things that ruin other players' fun. That sort of thing, which kind of, you know, confirms for me that they probably never had a session 0. Maybe this is one of those new DMs that doesn't know what session 0 is or why it's important to have, you know, to like establish general boundaries and stuff and expectations for the game. I'm gonna just boil it down to there was a lot of problems, and one of them is a novice GM that literally has no idea whatsoever what they're doing.
Yeah, no. I mean, they're new, so I guess that could be one of the, they don't really know what they're doing, but hopefully they at least told them afterwards that it wasn't good.
I guess we'll find out. Let's keep reading. The second session only got worse. While we were starting to get along with, GM introduced a dragon goddess who Larry's character immediately fell in love with and kept making really uncomfortable statements about. Like, the GM looked uncomfortable and kept changing the subject. Being the asexual I am, I immediately tried to put a stop to it by deciding I was going to get with the dragon goddess and never talk about it, just because I knew Larry would become insufferably weird if the character got with the dragon goddess. They're already weird outside of D&D, telling GM they had a dream the two were married and grosser stuff too. Unfortunately for this, I died, got killed by Larry's chosen failure to not save me. I was devastated and started making excuses not to play D&D, as playing when someone hates you sucks. Thankfully, the game ended after that when the two unmentioned players also didn't want to play anymore. Okay, hold on 1 second. I don't really fully understand the mentality of, hey, I want this problem player to stop being sexual with this NPC, so my character is going to get together with this NPC that this player is fixating onto, because that's definitely going to tell him to stop, right? Definitely. Oh, they're already taken. You could stop being a flirty. That's not going to stop him. I don't think Larry would even care. Larry would just get mad at you or start getting more sexual with a different NPC. The best way to deal with problem players is by learning for the GM to tell no, and learn to call things out of the table and start setting up session zeros. Ultimately, though,
just remove the person that's causing all the issue.
Exactly, yeah. If the problem is a problem player and everybody at the table recognizes the problem player, also for players, I guess everything can be, there's a lot of lessons that can be learned. One, for the GM to be very mindful about these sort of things and have session zero, and to establish boundaries at the table and not allow for Larry to just be a jerk at the table and get away with anything they want. I get the GM is inexperienced and stuff. They probably don't know how to handle a problem player like Larry, but this is a great way to learn about problem players doing stuff out of the way and actually using the fact that GM might be new and a novice to be able to get away with doing some, you know, bad things that typically other GMs will clap down onto. I'm not gonna blame the GM on this. They're new. Could they done better? Yeah, definitely. But also they're probably extremely experienced. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. But also the players, guys, if you have a player that sucks at the table, you gotta tell your GM. Like, especially if the GM is being clueless and stuff. Like in this situation, if you guys were to band together and say, hey GM, Larry's being kind of a jerk and we don't really want to play with him, or can we not have him steal stuff from the rest of the party? That probably would help to like establish a conversation and a dialogue towards like trying to solve this issue. So I feel like with somebody like Larry, the easiest way to deal with it is just to get the problem player out of it. Also, I got a question for you guys. Are you guys young? Because if you're young, everything will kind of make sense, right? You have the Larry the brat that basically tries to push boundaries because it doesn't know the limits of what a good game is and what to actually cut back and hold back a little bit. And everybody else seems to experience. Were you guys very young when you did that, like in high school or something? Because this will make a lot of sense. This will make a whole lot of sense. I can imagine adults doing this, you know?
I mean, they said, like Larry was like, tell them how they were having dreams of being married and gross and stuff. So I hope they were adult.
I mean, I don't know. When I was younger, I was having also some lewd dreams. But I don't know. Yeah, Mary, are you about to tell me that when you were a smaller satyr, you never had any lewd dreams? I honestly refuse to think that. Really?
I mean, I was asexual most of like my I guess teens and stuff, so I never really had interest in people.
I guess it's just me, guys. I'm the only pervert here. I'm the only pervert. Haha. Point at Morrow. Call me the pervert. I guess so. Anyway, I feel like this is a learning lesson that everybody can learn from. But the best lesson to learn here is no D&D is better than bad D&D. And if nothing is going on and you literally want to cry after the session, probably shouldn't play that session. Let's move on to the next story for today. A fellow player said I made everyone gang up on her because I implied maybe it wasn't a good idea to attack a powerful NPC that could kill us all. I've been around the block a few times. This player was new to D&D, but I was newer to a particular table. There were promising signs that the table was into communication and reducing conflicts out of game. I interviewed for it and everything. It was supposed to be a big on RP and have a bit of a darker tone. I decided to try and play a character that was different from my usual type. I was really excited to play, but I struggled. I was having a hard time dialing in my character, and it felt like things were cranked up to 11 at the time. By the third session, the 7th, we were at 2nd level, and it felt like the whole world was out to get us. I was having difficulty role-playing because my character was out of their depth, plus the other personalities at the table were so big there didn't seem to be room for me. I was really just at a loss at what to do. Long story short, Player X... Mary, we need a name for Player X. What do we call Player X?
X? I don't know. X-Ray?
X-Ray. Fantastic. We'll call him X-Ray. That sounds sick. Player X-Ray and Demi-God NPC were getting snippy with each other. In character, I talked about maybe turning myself in to appease the bad guys so they'd spare my family, and NPC grabbed me and told me to knock it off. Player X-Ray felt like she was protecting me by antagonizing the Demi-God, which went about as well as you would expect. Player X-Ray was a few hit points shy of an insta-kill. I healed her and told her to stay put while I tried to make peace, but on her turn, she got right back up and insulted the Demi-God and attacked them. The situation de-escalated thanks to another player, but the TPK was definitely palpable. Before we continue, I got just a general question. What sort of DM it throws you guys against the Demi-God at level 2? That sounds insane to me. You guys should be dealing with like goblins and bandits or something, or some sort of, I don't know, political intrigue, you know, some level 2 related stuff, not getting threatened to be eradicated by some Demi-God. This game sounds insane. What up?
It's understandable. Maybe the DM like wasn't planning on attacking, just wanted to use it as like a story start, you know, to make it exciting at the start, and they work hard to like get to it when they're like higher level, you know, like maybe they have to fight it later on in the story.
Like how, like, say for example, a GM like reveals a BBG early on. It says, "Ooh, you will never defeat me," kind of thing. You know,
yeah,
it's
like
a teaser, like that,
like an anime kind of thing. Like, oh, there's the demon lord you have to fight later on, or something. It just makes
actually,
like an introduction.
yeah. You're right. Actually, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I could see that. Okay, yeah, I could see that. At level 2? Yeah, easily. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Okay, okay. So maybe never mind. Maybe I'm gonna hold my thoughts back a little bit. Maybe there is some sort of a cool, like, Demon Lord thing going on here. Let's just see. At session debrief, things were tense. Try to diplomatically, passively say that I was concerned because sometimes when DMs and players are created multiple opportunities for someone to back out of bad situation and they don't take it, it could be seen as disruptive. Player X-Ray said she was trying to protect me when I was causing everyone to gang up on her, because it's possible the 4 individuals could simultaneously infer that attacking a Demi-God was a bad idea. In the end, I conceded that maybe the way I usually play, where most DMs put giant neon signs on certain NPCs that read "Do not attack or you will die," didn't apply at this kind of table. And maybe we were going with this is what my character would do, and I would try to adapt. Though I was wincing internally, because I think there's a fine balance between having a spicy, interesting character and what your character would do is get themselves killed. Player X-Ray was clearly really upset. I apologize for hurting her in those words, and we talked as a group for an hour. But it seemed like we were walking on eggshells and going in circles, and nothing was getting resolved. DM asked if there's anything left to say. Silence. We called it a night. Player X-Ray still seemed upset, but maybe things would cool off. I woke up to a message from X-Ray a few hours later saying what would happen was messed up. I had incited everyone to gang up on her, and she didn't want to play anymore because of me. I waited an hour and sent out probably too nice message back, validating her feelings and saying I was sorry. I had been in a similar situation before and it sucked. I thought maybe the session was too intense, or the DM could have done something differently, and please stick around so we could fix things. And I half joked that my playing was terrible. I never got back to sleep. I am so sorry for you. That is the worst. Now, I guess the question is, Mary, do you think the rest of the players, do you think this OP made everybody else gang up on X-Ray?
No. I mean, with how it just looks like they basically just said no, and then they got butthurt. It's basically what it looks like.
There's a big reveal of this BBG, like very sad, some sort of like an evil anime reveal, and it basically says, "Oh, you will never defeat me." And then X-Ray is like, "We'll see about that. I'm gonna try to fight this Demi-God." And everybody else at the table is like, "Maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we'll try to placate this, you know, Demi-God, but maybe we shouldn't do anything bad. They'll get our characters killed," you know? I feel like OP's instinct that this was like one of those "do not attack or you will die" moment. Yeah, that was the big neon sign 100%. I just think X-Ray just didn't see what was going on. Maybe they just thought maybe they never assumed that the character would ever die, right? That the DM would make it so that the world and everything else will bend around what the characters do, you know? Very character focused, character heavy, like this is what my character would do, and DM has to bend around to my will sort of thing. Or it could be one of those like Mary Sue moments where they think their character can literally do no wrong whatsoever and everything they're doing is righteous and justified and everybody else is bad in particular. It's difficult to read. I don't like the fact that they're trying to guilt trip OP about this, because OP didn't do anything wrong. All they said is, hey, maybe we shouldn't attack this really clearly powerful individual that DM is flaunting. Maybe we should just like back away a little bit and re-strategize. But just because
I'm guessing it's because they were the first one to say like, no, let's like not fight, let's do this, and then the team agreed with them. They probably thought that was ganging up on her or something because no one else wanted to fight with her or something.
Yeah, it sounds like X-Ray just trying to blame OP just for the sake of blaming OP, because they probably never were in a situation of...
Maybe they felt embarrassed.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, apparently they're brand new to the hobby and stuff. Maybe they thought like, you know, my character's the bestest ever. She can do no wrong kind of thing. And then kind of realize like, oh, everybody else is choosing not to go for it after this one player said it. I'll blame this one player for things and hold him accountable. I think OP went a little bit too nice on them. They honestly said like, hey, first of all, this is a game. Second of all, neon signs, clearly a powerful enemy. Let's not mess around with it. Like, I'm sorry you're hurt. I'm sorry you're upset. Let's try to have conflicts and everything. But yeah, blaming another player for choosing to want to leave, I just don't agree with it. Like, if the game is really that bad for X-Ray, if it's to the point where it's just not enjoyable, just leave. You don't have to advertise. You're not at airport. You don't have to advertise that you're going to be leaving to something. I understand if you want to talk about grievances of anything, but one player saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't fight the clearly difficult enemy should be the reason why you leave. Sounds like X-Ray is maybe taking things a little bit too personally and is blaming somebody else instead of like talking it out with the GM. I feel like if they would have talked about the DM about this whole thing, maybe things would have been put in perspective or something. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of feelings there. They're putting a lot of negative feelings towards OP when OP didn't even do anything wrong. Her reply in the morning, longer. Lots of very direct you and I statements. I tried to protect you. I knew what I was getting into with this table. You made everyone gang up on me. You can't separate the table from reality. You shouldn't be here, etc. She went in the main forum and said I had rewritten history, and she was mad at everyone for ganging up on her again, just because she is new. I really have no idea what the ganging up bit is about. It feels like a trigger or a callback to some bigger trauma, which I can totally empathize with, but damn, girl. No, this is... There's a lot of yous and eyes, and she's saying, I try to protect you, and you did this bad thing. I could do no wrong. I did the right thing, and you did everything bad. And also what's really funny is the fact that they say you can't separate the table from reality when they themselves can't see the bigger picture either. This is the case of a player being butthurt, that the character's butthurt, and they're blaming it to somebody else, saying that they're butthurt when they're not even butthurt in the first place. They're just trying to placate them as best as they can. Like, OP has done everything good in this moment, and X-Ray just for some reason just wants to relay into OP for no reason. The favorite part is you can't separate the table from reality. And you can? Are you sure about that? It sounds like Glass House's kind of moment, you know, or like a projection. That's what it sounds a little bit. I'd been in direct contact with the DM since X-Ray's first message. He had been at a loss at what to do. I finally said, look, if you want me to walk, I will not fight it. He said that was probably the best idea. I had a feeling that's what he would say because he and X-Ray were friends, and I'm kind of relieved. And honestly, I doubt the table would survive anyway. Obviously touched a nerve with X-Ray somewhere, but I really do not think I deserved all that. Even if X-Ray was right and I was not a good match for the table, I would have rather we talked through it as a group and come to that organically instead of being bullied out. I am someone who with a sordid history of emotional meltdowns and fractured social groups, and therefore super proud of how I kept my cool. It's weird to be on the other side, so to speak. Ultimately, I really hope it's a situation where everyone can say, well, I learned something from this. It was a rough day trying to figure out what the hell has happened, but I brought myself Chinese food, beer, and pint of ice cream to celebrate that I handled all with much grace as I did. 10 years ago, I might have ended up impatient. You know what? You have a patience of a saint, OP. I hope that Chinese food, beer, and pint of ice cream was absolutely delicious and well worth it.
What a way to treat yourself. Screw those people.
No, you should treat yourself. You handle yourself very calm and collected. I don't know if anybody told you. I don't know if you care about it, but I'm proud of you, son. Daughter, whatever you are. Either way,
stood your ground and you left.
You stood your ground. I mean, you didn't stand your ground, but you were very respectful to self. You realize this is a bad situation, it's probably not worth it, and you removed yourself from a bad game, which I fully commend you. You did the no D&D is better than bad D&D maneuver, and you saved yourself some much needed patience from this. This would have been a game of hell. And considering the fact that X-Ray specifically said that you don't belong at this table, that was a really cruel thing of them to say. Like, you didn't do anything wrong whatsoever. You just want to join in, have a little bit of fun. Could there be misunderstandings? Sure. Could there be ways things would have said differently? I guess maybe we're missing a lot of context, but I don't think you've done anything particular that deserved her coming in there and saying that you don't belong at this table. There's somebody that just doesn't like you or doesn't like something you did at the table, and they're taking it so personally that they want to physically bully you out in like some sort of like a High School Musical bully style, which is insane to me. Pedestrian, feels juvenile. Honestly, I don't think this is the kind of game that deserves the OP. You think you deserve to find a game that's going to actually treat you with respect.
Don't be an asshole and just, I don't know, just be nice. Be friendly to your group. Have fun with your group. Don't bring drama into it that doesn't need drama. It's just a game. Have fun.
Oh yeah, and for X-Ray, I think at some point they're gonna run into it at some point, but self-awareness can help you greatly in the future. Otherwise, I don't think they're gonna be welcome at many tables for the time being. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.